Okay, good evening, everyone. We'll go ahead and call to order the regular meeting of the Folsom City Council for Tuesday, March 14th, 2017. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Council members Gaylord,
Here.
Howell,
Here.
Miklos,
Here.
Sheldon,
Here.
and Morin.
Here, and I hope you got the attendance of the little one that just spoke up out there. Let's see, so with that, would everyone please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so with that, any agenda updates, Madam Clerk?
Mr. Mayor, you have no updates to the agenda.
Okay, perfect. So what I'm going to do, we just have one request to speak on business from the floor, so we're going to start with that, and that'll just take a few minutes, and then we're going to jump right into our presentation to our Junior Bulldog Award recipients. So with that, business from the floor, we have, bring those up.
Mr. Mayor, you have one request to speak from Grace Cole and Ava Smith.
Okay. Come on up, you two. Right up here to the front over there. Yeah, can you, is that microphone on?
Okay. My name is Ava Smith, and I'm in 8th grade at Folsom Middle School. I've been in Girl Scouts for 9 years, from kindergarten to 8th grade. This is our Girl Scout Silver Award, which is the second highest award that a Girl Scout can earn. The highest is a Gold Award. We also completed the Bronze Award a few years ago. In the Silver Award, we held a self-defense class, held 3 Grace Pack drives at school, at Girl Scouts, and at our self-defense class. And we also worked with a Folsom police member to create an information sheet for hotels to put in view to educate the hotel's customers and employees so that they know the signs of human trafficking. Lastly, we put a fact sheet for people on one of the local Girl Scout websites on how to donate Grace Packs and did this proclamation. In our award, we met with people from the Grace Packs, the detective of the City Folsom Police Department, the mayor of Folsom, the principal of Folsom Hills, and the owner of Kempo Karate. We emailed countless others. We wanted to make a proclamation because we wanted to aware the members of Folsom about this problem and wanted to tell people what to look for. We chose this project because Sacramento is the #3 highest city in the nation for human trafficking and is a huge issue that needs to be addressed. We also picked this because the average age for a girl to go into human trafficking is 11 to 14 years, which is in my age range. Our project ended up taking over 50 hours to complete.
Hi, my name is Grace Cole, and we are 8th graders at Folsom Middle School. I enjoyed dancing in Girl Scouts, which I have been in for 9 years. In our project, we also did 3 drives for Grace Packs so far. Grace Packs are backpacks full of essentials for victims who have just got rescued out of human trafficking. These backpacks include items such as pajamas, a blanket, and soap to get the victims through until they find a permanent home or somewhere to stay. So far, we have gotten over 567 donations, and we are still having another big drive. I dropped out the locations we have so far, and 3 Strands was very grateful. We are looking forward to the following donations we will be getting. Another thing we did is have the self-defense class, as Ava mentioned. In this class, girls and their moms learn basic self-defense moves to protect them in a possible case where they could be harmed or abducted. When we were originally planning this event, we thought we were going to have about 30 students, but ended up hosting 44 people. Brandon Hubbard from Brandon Hubbard's Kempo Karate and Folsom taught us this class. Reeves of Folsom gave the girls some coupons, and Damsels in Defense was there with tools to purchase for the girls to defend themselves, such as zappers and pepper spray. This is a great day for women and girls to prepare themselves for a possible unexpected attack. Ava and I would just like to thank you all for your time and the mayor for his help in our project. We are very honored to be getting a proclamation this evening.
Well, let's give them a nice hand. So as Grace and Ava mentioned, those two young ladies are very, very active in Girl Scouts, and when they approached me and shared with me what they had been doing, they were very eager to share with the community. So I figured this would be a great venue. So I appreciate you indulging me and having them go first, so they had a nice audience, and you two did wonderful. So thanks for coming out, and it's a very, very important topic, and I learned a lot from you, and hopefully the community did as well. So thank you for the great work in the community. So once again, another nice round for Ava and Grace. Okay, so now, under scheduled presentations, next item, please.
Your first scheduled presentation tonight is a resolution of commendation honoring the Folsom Junior Bulldogs for earning the 2016 Excellence in Academics and Athletics Award.
Okay, this is a fun time. We recognize some great kids in our community. So if I could have Mike Gady come up, and he'll be reading all the names so I don't butcher them, and I'll present a proclamation to Mike, and then we'll get rolling with recognizing these fine young student athletes. Thanks for bringing them all out here. Okay, so we just did the, see if that'll stay still. There we go. So we just had the fortunate pleasure of doing the Vista Junior Eagles at our last meeting. So we always like this 1-2 punch that really does show what great kids we have in this community. And before I read the proclamation, I need to thank all the coaches of the football players, the coaches of the cheer squads, and especially all the parents. I know you folks just do so much getting these kids to their practices, but at the same time as these awards show, getting them to do their homework after they get back from the practices. So my thanks to all the fine work to get these kids where they are at today. And this is always a fun scheduled presentation for us here at the City Council. So with that, I have a nice proclamation to read, hand off to Mike here, and then he's going to work through all our recipients here. So this is a resolution of commendation honoring the Folsom Junior Bulldogs for earning the 2016 Excellence in Academics and Athletics Award. Whereas the Folsom Junior Bulldogs is an official youth football and cheer association in Folsom. Whereas the Folsom Junior Bulldogs organization is committed to both academic and athletic excellence. Whereas members of the Junior Bulldog football and cheer teams maintain a grade point average of 3.0 or better during the football and cheer season. Whereas this level of academic achievement is significant enough to merit recognition from the Board of Directors of the Folsom Youth Football and Cheer and the City of Folsom here today. So now, therefore, I, Andy Moore, Mayor of the City of Folsom, on behalf of the entire community, do hereby extend commendations of the highest regard to the members of the Folsom Junior Bulldogs who earned the Excellence in Academics and Athletics Award 2016 and encourage their continued scholastic excellence in the future. Passed and approved this 14th day of March 2017. So we'll give them a nice big general round of applause. I'm gonna hand this off to Mike, and he'll work through all these fine young student athletes.
All right, this year was probably our best record, our season of record. Between our 5 football teams, we were 55-5. 5 teams in the championship, 3 teams won the championship, 13 cheer competition trophies. When we did our mid-year grade check, 78% of our kids qualified for these awards. So at this time, we're going to start with our bronze level. Those mentioned they have a 3.0 to 3.49 GPA, and they are Ashley Lemon, Victoria Davis.
They're going to come up right now. Okay, as you mentioned, just come on up here. And the TV camera's right up there, okay? So make sure you glance at that, okay? And then you can stop over here and get a picture, something like that. So let me shake your hand. Congratulations.
Malik Jackson, Tyler Moore, Cole Gannon, Aiden McKendrick, Kylie McKendrick, Jaden Burrows, Jamison Ewell, Kevin McCord, Avery McCord, Brooklyn Santucci, Eric Anderson, Madeline McClintock, Graham Trainellis,
Slow down, man, slow down. I can't hand them out, man.
I didn't have that problem last year, Andy.
Mike is breathing.
Carter Martinelli, Reese Atterbury, and Serena Santos. Again, these 18 recipients had a 3.0 to 3.49 GPA.
Yeah, so you guys can probably file out that way, and now we'll bring the next group in, because it's a nice, large group, isn't it?
Yes. Next, we have our silver level. These football players and cheerleaders achieved a 3.5 to 3.99 GPA. Ronnie Hensley III, Brittany Lemon, Jake Melander, Kara Linton, Grace Nanini, Jaden Thompson, Lucas George, Joey Pelka, Justin Arnez, Kylie Dunn, Edwin Hedrick, Emma Willie, Jared Burrows, Tristan Query, Renna Simon, Jordan Rosenquist, Ariel Reyes, Emma Martinez, Landon McMahon, Lucas Wolf, Evan Trainellis, Rylan Geyer, Richard Semenza, Josh Tremaine, Jake Tremaine, Alex Schroer, Addison Brown, Sienna Cummins, Logan Hutton, and Hunter Masterson. Again, these are our silver level 3.5 to 3.99 GPA. And last up is our gold level. These football players and cheerleaders achieved a 4.0 or higher. Justin Hanzelka, Demetrius Brown, Brandon Matullo, Josh Calloway, Tristan Gola, Caden Bienvenu, Jordan McGurr, JJ McMahon, Ariana Semenza,
Big kids.
Zachary Woodward,
They're not my kids.
Justin Belmonte, Katie Wagner, Kenzie Brown, Mitchell Anderson, Amy Olson, Saxton Brown, Brielle Smelter, Tyler Tremaine, and Rex Wyrick Jr. Again, these are our gold level recipients, 4.0 or higher for the season. Half of the Folsom Junior Bulldogs, I just want to thank the mayor and the rest of the city council for taking some time to recognize these young athletes. Thank you.
There.
Okay, we'll just give them a quick minute to clear out before, well, Jim must be speaking next then, right? Is that?
Mayor, what a buzzkill. Now we're going to talk about mosquitoes. I know I still got it.
Once a ham, always a ham, you know, what the hell.
Can't take me anywhere.
Okay, so next item, please.
All right, Mr. Mayor, your next item tonight is your scheduled presentation, item 5B, which is a presentation by the Sacramento Yolo Mosquito and Vector Control District, and I believe we have General Manager Gary Goodman here to present.
Yeah, so I appreciate that. Obviously, we know how to clear a room. So, thank you to the council and to the mayor for inviting us out to come. This is our time to talk a little bit about mosquitoes. I do want to acknowledge your trustee on our board, Mr. Craig Burnett.
Thanks for all the service for a long time, Craig.
Yes, he's I don't know if we can shake him or he can't shake us. I'm not sure, but he's been around for over 35 years with the district, providing excellent service and always making sure that we're doing what our job is, and then also trying to inform the community here in Folsom of the activities that are ongoing, especially over the last couple of years. So I want to just talk a little bit about what we're anticipating for this upcoming season, talk a little bit about West Nile and Zika, those things that are in the news, and what we kind of anticipate and what we've seen from this particular area last year. So again, our district is all of Sacramento and all of Yolo County, so we're a bi-county district. We're very diverse from the perspective of Sacramento County has, for the most part, all the population. Yolo County has a lot of the agriculture. A lot of that agriculture with rice and wetlands and those types of things produce mosquitoes that then don't recognize exactly where they were born and fly across the river and have an impact on population. So very diverse, even going down into the Delta, which is going to be a significant issue for us this upcoming year with as much water and rain as what we've had. In general, just the mosquito life cycle, for the most part, only female mosquitoes bite. They're essentially looking for the protein in your blood for them to make and produce eggs or viable eggs. Male mosquitoes don't bite, but then once that female mosquito bites, it's looking to lay eggs. It will lay anywhere from 150 to 200 eggs at a time. Then they'll go through 4 larval stages into a pupal stage and then emerge as an adult. So the focus of what the district tries to do is tries to target those mosquitoes in their larval stage, in the aquatic stages. We're looking for that standing water. We're looking for those backyard swimming pools. We're looking for those wetlands and those types of things that are producing mosquitoes before they emerge as adults, because once they come off as adults, then you've got another 100 or so female mosquitoes that are looking to take a blood meal and start that whole process over and over again. So it's very easy for us to see a lot of different types of habitats. Like I said, we have rice, we have wetlands, a number of large water bodies that are very easy for us to see. And anytime you have this level of vegetation and water interface, it allows the mosquitoes to really thrive. So when we talk about stagnant water, when you have rivers and creeks that are flowing, there's mosquitoes are really small in the water, so they'll just get carried down. So they're looking for that stagnant water, and they're specifically looking for a lot of this vegetation. It allows them to protect themselves against predators. So rice fields and wetlands and those types of things are perfect habitat for breeding grounds for mosquitoes. But again, these are large bodies of water that we can see very easily and get a good sense on. The harder ones for us to find are the backyard sources. So especially after the recent rains that we've had, a lot of these containers that are in people's backyards just fill up with a little bit of water, and they're not paying attention, dumping that water out, and so therefore you have quite a bit of mosquito breeding that happens in people's backyards. So anything that really can hold water will breed mosquitoes. Backyard swimming pools can produce thousands if they're not maintained, so you see those green pools. But even just those general buckets, as this water has come down in the last couple months, we've seen a lot going to individual people's houses, looking in their backyards and finding just a lot of little sources that people wouldn't necessarily think about. So one of the messages that we always try to get is to try to go around your yard once a week and look for anything that your sprinklers may be filling up, or specifically after a recent rain, that water would be standing, so that we can try to get rid of that and reduce mosquito breeding. So what we talk about, again, water management is key. If we can manage that water, then we'll have fewer mosquitoes. One big issue that we find in urban Sacramento area is a lot of the catch basins that we have. So a lot with the drought restrictions that we've had over the past couple of years, and people were cutting back on their water usage, was very helpful because they weren't overwatering their lawns. When they overwater their lawns and that water runs off into the sidewalk and then into the catch basins, again, perfect breeding ground for mosquitoes because it has a lot of leaf litter and organic material, and then that little bit of standing water. So we saw a little bit of a boost, but obviously we want people to be aware of what that is. So making sure that you're not overwatering your lawn, don't dumping your green waste, although I don't think Folsom necessarily has that problem, but we do have some communities where they still dump green waste in the street and it gets picked up by the claw. That's an issue because you get that organic material in the catch basin. But essentially what we're asking for is making sure that people are checking their yard once a week for any standing water that's there, recycle that fountain water, those types of things. And if you have a habitat that might be suitable for mosquito fish, which we provide free of charge, just give us a call. We'll come out, we'll make sure that we'll plant those fish in that suitable area and take care of the mosquito problems from there. So our program in and of itself, we use what we call integrated mosquito management, and so it starts with public information. We have a very active advertising program throughout the district with radio, television, print, all of those types of things to try to get information out to the public. We go to a lot of community events. We go to a lot of neighborhood associations to try to give, and then we also have a school program as well. So the biggest component is to try to educate the public as to what they can do to help reduce mosquito breeding and then also protect themselves from diseases like West Nile. Then we have what we call our surveillance program. We set traps out throughout our district on a daily and weekly basis, collect those traps, bring them back, separate them by sex and species, and make sure that we're monitoring the levels of both abundance and virus activity for our entire district area. Then we go through what we call biological control, as I mentioned, is the mosquito fish. So at our facility, we breed about 4,000 pounds or plant 4,000 pounds of fish per year just in Sacramento and Yolo County. That's over 3 million fish in places like backyard swimming pools, irrigation ditches, rice fields, wetlands, all of those types of things to help suppress the mosquito numbers. Then we have physical control. So we work with landowners. We actually have a backhoe and a dump truck on site. We work with landowners on managing their property. If there's a ditch that needs to be cleaned out to help facilitate water moving through there so it's not backing up onto the property and creating stagnant water, we'll negotiate with those. We work with U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, Department of Fish and Wildlife, with the state and any other private wetland owners to make sure that they're reducing mosquito breeding on their own property. And then we get into our control aspect, which is larvicide and adulticide. And as I mentioned, our target is to try to get them in their aquatic stage, is looking for those water sources and then treating accordingly. But when we do get adult mosquitoes that start to come off, and specifically when we get very high numbers or we get West Nile virus activity, then we'll initiate adult mosquito control activities in a particular area. Anywhere from backpack to ground trucks or ATVs to airplane. To date, we have not had to do that here in Folsom. We've done ground rigs in Folsom area, but we haven't had to implement an airplane. So that's a good thing. We've been able to keep the virus activity lower than in other areas of our particular district. So specifically diseases that mosquitoes can carry, the most prevalent one that we have in the United States is West Nile virus. It's been here in California since 2004. It's been in the United States since 1999. But we've also had in the U.S. Smaller outbreaks of dengue, chikungunya, and then of course Zika is a big issue that's been in the news in the last couple of years. And so we do have cases of Zika in California and specifically within our county. No locally acquired cases, which is a good thing. So nobody has been bitten by a local mosquito and contracted Zika, but they've traveled and brought that back. And so the concern is with those particular species of mosquitoes that we want to make sure that people are aware and that we're doing the best job that we can to try to help protect them. And at this time of year, there is a specific species of mosquito called Aedes syriensis that transmits dog heartworm. So they come out in the springtime. They tend to breed in tree holes, so those little holes that you'll see specifically in oak trees, which you guys have a lot here out in Folsom. When that water fills up those little, what we call tree holes, those particular mosquitoes breed out of that and they can transmit dog heartworm. So we want to make sure that people are aware that that is a disease that's vectored by mosquitoes, but there's simple medication that you can give to your animals for that. So again, West Nile virus it's actually a bird disease, and so it's vectored by mosquitoes. So you have an infected bird, a mosquito bites that bird, picks up the virus. Next time it bites another bird or bites a human, it can pass that on. And so it is a bird disease. It's vectored specifically by mosquitoes. And so that's why we have such an issue here in California, is because this specific type of bird that is very susceptible to West Nile tends to be in the corvid population. So you're talking about jays and crows, which we have a lot here, specifically in the Central Valley. So general symptoms of West Nile virus, we don't want to try to minimize this. A lot of people think it's just like getting the flu, but about 1 in 5 people that get bit with West Nile or get infected with West Nile virus will exhibit some level of symptom. Now that symptom could be a minor flu that could last just a few days and then they tend to recover. But it also can be that part of the flu that can last for weeks and even months on end. And so we want to make sure that people are aware of what the specific risks are and that they're doing the best job that they can to protect themselves. But the symptoms typically, if you're starting to exhibit them, are flu-like symptoms: fever, headache, nausea, body aches, those types of things. So think about the worst part of the flu lasting for just a couple days if you recover, and that's great, or it could last for weeks on end. There's actually a study that was done back about 10 years ago when West Nile virus first came through by CDPH, the California Department of Public Health, where they surveyed people a year after being affected by West Nile, and they found that over 50% were still experiencing some level of symptom a year later. So it is very significant, have a big impact on your lifestyle and your family, your job, all of those types of things. So we want to make sure that people are aware and they're protecting themselves. So this is a map of what we had from last year, specifically around the Folsom area. As you can see in yellow, we have our positive West Nile virus birds. So we had, typically you have residents that call in that say, hey, I have a dead bird. We go out there, we pick it up, we bring it back, we test it to see if it has or was carrying West Nile virus. And then what we'll do from that point is then we'll set traps in and around that area to collect mosquitoes and then test those mosquitoes to see if they're carrying virus. So as you can see in the Folsom area, some activity, definitely a little bit more as you're getting a little bit closer into Citrus Heights. But for the most part, again, this is over the entire course of the year, a good level of activity, but nothing that would necessitate us putting up an airplane. So we've been able to localize and control this on a very localized level, which is good. That's exactly what we're trying to do. And we definitely appreciate the help from the residents of Folsom of calling us, letting us know when there's a dead bird, letting us know when there's a bad pool or whatever that may be, or they're just being bothered by mosquitoes. It gives us better direction as to where to go and focus our efforts moving forward. So last year, again, this is a West Nile virus activity in California. 2005 was the big year. That was kind of the first major introduction into California. We had 880 human cases. And then it started to tail off. And then in 2014, which is actually kind of the height of the drought, so to speak, we had a big resurgence of human cases, over 800, 2015, almost 800, and then last year it dropped off a little bit to 442. The reason for that really, what we theorize, is the fact that it's a bit counterintuitive. You think, well, if you have less water in a drought, then you're going to have less mosquitoes. And that's true, but typically what happens is wherever you do have water, you have a congregation of both the mosquitoes and the birds in the same place. And because it's a bird disease, what intended to happen was it amplified the virus in those particular areas, and then it had transferred over into the human population. While these numbers are here, and some folks would say, well, that's not that many, CDC actually estimates that West Nile virus activity is significantly underreported, because a lot of people, if you start to exhibit the flu, you may not even go to the doctor and get it diagnosed. And even if you do go to the doctor tends not to make tests for West Nile virus because the care is just supportive. It's just a matter of rest. There is no medication that you can take that's going to knock it out. There's no antibiotic or anything like that that's going to help with this. And so it tends to be underdiagnosed. So CDC actually estimates for every neuroinvasive form of the disease, you have another 30 to 70 cases that go unreported. So essentially what that means in California is we have about 15 to 20,000 people that are getting afflicted with West Nile, exhibiting symptoms of West Nile virus on an annual basis. So it's a much larger number than what is actually formally reported from that. So what are we expecting a little bit for 2017? Obviously a very wet winter. I drove here from Elk Grove, our office down in Elk Grove. I took the back roads up Prairie City and I saw water everywhere. Our technicians have been very busy so far, especially with this warm weather that has come through. The mosquitoes are starting to come out, and we're anticipating a much more significant challenge than what we faced over the last few years with the drought conditions. So our folks are going to be out. I wish I could tell you that it was going to be a good West Nile year, but a bad mosquito year. We don't know that as of yet. Our numbers are starting to trend pretty similar to what we've had before the drought type situation. So if that's the case, then hopefully our West Nile virus numbers will actually be lower than what we've had over the past couple of years. But obviously, the more water that we have, the more standing water that we have, the more mosquito breeding opportunities that we have. And so we really are trying to solicit the public to identify where those sources are. If you see a puddle that's not draining, if you know of a neighbor that's not maintaining a pool, just give us a call. We usually come out the very next day, if not the same day. We want to take care of it as quickly as possible because we're trying to eliminate that water and those adult mosquitoes from emerging, because then we just have a larger problem moving forward. So I mentioned Zika, and specifically Zika, we have, and I talked about this, I believe, last year, we have these what we call invasive mosquito species. So the Asian tiger mosquito and the yellow fever mosquito are two mosquitoes that transmit Zika along with dengue and chikungunya, which are diseases that we haven't had locally acquired here, but we have had people that have been sick that have traveled here with those particular diseases. Now, we've been doing monitoring for these particular mosquitoes for the last 4 years. We have yet to detect them. However, there are populations that are established in places of Fresno and Madera, which is very similar habitat and climate to what we have here, and really only a couple hundred miles away. So these mosquitoes have made their way up essentially from South America, Central America, and Mexico, and are starting to get established in California. Significant populations in Fresno and Madera, again, a lot of significant populations in San Diego and Los Angeles, and it may just be a matter of time before they get here. And the concern, obviously, is if these particular mosquitoes get established, then we could have local transmission of those diseases of dengue, chikungunya, and Zika as those travel cases start to come in. So just briefly on Zika virus, again, transmitted by Aedes aegypti and Aedes albopictus. There's a map there that shows the number of cases that have been reported throughout the United States. So there really isn't a state that's been, that hasn't had a travel-related case of Zika. You've had local transmission in Florida. And obviously significant impact in Puerto Rico, which is a lot of what is in the news. So again, this really just came on us last year. We've had local cases here in the Sacramento area, so it's just something that we want to make sure. I think one other complicating factor associated with Zika is that it can be obviously the birth defects are the major issue associated with it, but it also has sexual transmission, which is unheard of for a vector-borne disease. We've never had anything like that that been able to be transmitted sexually. So that becomes another complicating factor associated with Zika in and of itself. Again, Zika was not really on the radar screen until a couple of years ago with the impact on the birth defects, because it was always considered a very minor disease. The impacts were very similar to general flu-like symptoms, never led to neuroinvasive or death or anything like that like West Nile virus has. So typically it was you got sick and you recovered, everything was fine. Now that you have this impact associated with the birth defects aspect, makes it a much more complicating factor for us moving forward, and that's what we're trying to get the information out and help protect against. So we have what we call 7 Ds, the 7 Ds of mosquito control. Number 1 is drain any standing water. So if you see it, drain it. If you can't drain it, give us a call. We'll help you with that and make sure that it's being treated. Dawn and dusk are times to avoid being outdoors if you can. I know that's kind of hard, especially in the summertime here in Sacramento. The dusk is the best time because it starts to cool down a little bit, but that's when mosquitoes are most active, and so that's when your risk of West Nile virus is at its highest. If you do have to go outside, dress in long sleeves and pants when you can do that to help protect yourself, your skin, your exposed skin from being bitten by mosquitoes. Defend yourself with an effective repellent. So we have some repellent wipes. So we buy this stuff by the pallet. We want people to use it, so if you have a community event, I know we do a lot of community events here in Folsom, we hand this stuff out. If you have something specific that you would like for us to go out to, we'd be more than happy to deliver that repellent to you. We do it to Little League and all of those other types of things. It's just a matter of give us a call. It's much better in somebody's hands than it is in our warehouse. Doors and screens should be in good working order. So I know when we open up the windows in the evening time to kind of get the breeze that come through our house to cool things down, you want to make sure that there's no holes in those screens, because that's where mosquitoes will find you. Essentially, they're picking up the carbon dioxide that you exhale. And that's how they find their blood meals. And so you want to make sure that your doors and screens are in order. And of course, any questions that you may have, being bothered by mosquitoes, see standing water, just give the district a call. Like I said, we typically come out within 24 hours to try to take care of the problem. And then here's our website and phone number. So fightthebite.net. We have a lot more information there to where you can put service requests in or just get general information about mosquitoes, and then our phone number to give us a call.
Great.
Any questions?
As always, thanks for the great information. Any questions?
Thank you.
Very good.
Oh,
I just wanted to thank Gary and the great job he's doing for our district. I've been manager, what, 4 years now?
4 years, yeah.
4 years, and we're like the #1 district in the United States, which makes me very proud and proud to serve the city of Folsom all these years. And the CDC relies on us. We have, what, 3 employees going back to special training here next week. And actually, one of our employees, who's the lab manager, went with the CDC to Brazil to consult with them on the Zika outbreak. And she's fluent in Portuguese. She has her PhD in biology?
Yeah, she's a DVM, but entomology, yeah.
Entomology and a veterinarian. So again, thanks to the city council and the mayor for your support of me and the district. And if you need anything, give us a call and we'll be there to take care of it.
All right.
Thank you.
What, no plug for the Community Concert Association?
Well, let me tell you about that next week.
Thanks,
Thank
Craig.
you.
Thanks, Gary. Thanks for
Great.
coming out
Thank
as
you very
always.
much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Very good.
All right, so I believe we're going to circle back and take care of some business from the floor here.
You have 6 requests to speak. First will be Dolly Sood, and Dolly will be followed by Deepak Gilra.
Good evening, Dolly.
Hello, council members. Last time I came, it was Valentine's Day, and Ernie was wearing a very nice red jacket. And I came this time to compliment him, and he's not wearing his red jacket.
Green. Try to be green. Say Patty's Day.
So I'm Dolly Sood. I'm living in Folsom since 1995. I have never heard or experienced such incidents of hate, which we are witnessing now. I'm sure you guys have heard of these things in our schools as well. I don't have the solutions for this at this point. I know Jayat Badiga is working with Mayor Morin, and she couldn't make it to today's meeting. We need to be on the same page, and I'm sure you guys are discussing of what we can do and what the city can do for us and to tamp these things down. And I'm just here to show my concern.
Okay, great,
Thank
great,
you.
Dolly. Thanks for coming out. And as you mentioned, it does have our highest attention, and we've got a number of different things we're working on, as well as with the schools. So we're very tuned in. So,
Thank you, and I'll see you on the 20th.
great, sounds great.
Thank
Yep.
Okay, next speaker is Deepak Gilra.
Yeah, that's
Correct me if I'm wrong there. Who will be followed by Shri.
Thank you so much. Hello, council members. My name is Deepak, and I've been in the Folsom since 2003. And I'm standing here in front of you to express concern about the recent increase in the hate crimes, specifically against the Indian community that is happening all over the country and in this region as well. You know, Indian Americans, hardworking, peace-loving, and we have added to the prosperity and well-being of the local community. And most Indian Americans are highly educated and are net contributors to American society by way of jobs, taxes, and other services. So here, we are here to, in front of you to see how we can assure the Indian community about the different hate crimes and what can we do together to prevent more crimes from happening. Thank you.
Thanks for coming out.
Next speaker is Shri, and she will be followed by Lynn Berkeley Beskin.
Good evening, Shreen.
Hello, everybody. My name is Nagashri Kador, and I have lived here in Folsom since '98, and I work for Department of Justice. My concern is no different than the previous 2 speakers, but I'm more concerned not only at the adult level, but I'm seeing more and more of this behavior in schools these days. And that's truly my bigger concern, because the kids now in school are the society 10 years, 20 years from now. So I really want to get ahead, in front of this problem, maybe bring some programs to our schools that teach the kids what's right from what's wrong. I've talked to a lot of these kids. At a fundamental level, they know it's wrong to say, you are an Indian, go back to India. You are a Mexican, go back to Mexico. They know it's wrong. But at the same time, they're not able to clearly visualize, okay, if that's wrong, what's the right behavior? What are the right things we need to learn from when we're 11 years, 12 years, right? So I'm really here to bring my bigger concern of let's mold these kids to be the society that we want them to be 10, 20 years from now. And I don't want to just throw this problem your way. If there are programs in place that I can volunteer at or solutions that I can bring to you, I would love to do that. So please let me know. I don't want to throw this problem at you and walk away from here. Thank you.
I have a quick question. Have you
Yes.
brought this in front of the school board as well?
Absolutely,
Good.
absolutely. I was
'Cause
there last
again,
week.
We're all talking about being on the same page, because obviously they control the classrooms, we don't, but we can
Yes.
put pressure on them.
Yes.
Okay.
So I talked to, my son is in Sutter Middle. I've talked to the vice principal there a couple times. I went in front of the FCUSD board last week. I was there to bring the same problem to them. I'm just using every avenue available to the citizens of Folsom to get in front of this issue and make sure that we build the society that we want to see years from now.
Great. Well,
Thank you for your
Couldn't
time.
agree more with you.
Thanks for taking the time to come out, and just as, by way of information, so on, let's see, Monday, I guess, I'll be meeting with a number of folks
Yes.
concerned about this. I believe we see some of them in the audience here.
Yes.
And in addition, at our school district city council 2x2 meeting, this was brought up, so we
Okay.
are very connected. And in this meeting that I'll be hosting on the 20th, we'll have a school board member there as well as some other folks. So
Awesome.
yes, it does
Awesome.
have our.
I will be there as well, so if there is anything I can help with, I would love to.
Great, thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, your next speaker is Lynn Berkeley-Beskin, who will be followed by Jason Holderness.
Good evening, Lynn.
Good evening, thank you. I'm here wearing lots of hats, but I'm speaking on behalf of myself, just to make that very clear, and Sacramento Faces Race, which is a community project that bridges understanding from the Black American experience and perspective. And so with that hat, I would like to offer our assistance, if needed, for anti-bias training once a year. We have a focused weekend. We've had thousands and thousands of people in the Sacramento region participate. So certainly if you need our help, we have accredited teachers who teach anti-bias training. So certainly that can happen and does happen throughout the region in our classrooms, but also at the adult level, even at Folsom Lake College. And so wearing other hats, although I'm still speaking for myself, I do bring a standing in coalition message. I sit on the executive committee of the NAACP, so on behalf of President Betty Williams, I bring that message here to stand with our Indian community, as well as the Jewish Community Relations Council, on behalf of Bruce Palmer, who is the chair, and on behalf of Bassem El-Kara, who is the Council on American Islamic Relations. So thank you for hearing me, and please note that we stand with our Indian community.
All right, great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, your next speaker is Jason Holderness, who will be followed by Waikai Chalam Cherla.
Evening, Jason.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. My name is Jason Holderness, so some of you definitely know my parents, whether you love me because of my mom or hate me because of my dad. I assure you I'm here tonight on my own behalf because of my interest in my hometown. Before I get into the meat of what I want to talk to you about tonight, I just want to speak out, I just want to basically let you know a little bit about my background and where I'm coming from so that you understand what I'm talking about. And real quick, as an aside, I just want to say Folsom is my hometown, and it pains me to hear the comments tonight and at previous council meetings about some of the hate that's going on in this city. And I definitely stand in solidarity with them. But I'm speaking tonight about the proposal for the city's general plan that the city will be reviewing in 2 weeks. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make that meeting, so I wanted to come tonight and kind of voice some of my thoughts on it. So most of you know my family has been in Folsom for a long time. I moved away for college and spent the last 9 years living in San Diego. In San Diego, I got involved in their tech and startup scene and helped to co-found a startup there called Take Lessons that was very successful. I left there to join another startup as CTO about a year ago, and then moved back to Folsom in January of last year. Being active in the startup and tech communities in Southern California, I've met many people and experienced many companies in that scene. San Diego's tech scene is starting to flourish as people flee the high cost of living in the Bay Area. So they're seeking places where there's a better balance of work-life balance. And San Diego has some very attractive features such as beautiful beaches, obviously. And some of the things that attract young talent is the ability to do things like grab a surfboard at lunchtime and go catch some waves and then come back to work and finish your day. Well, San Diego also has some very good and smart people there. It is a large city, so there's a good base of talent to draw from. Now, while San Diego has some beautiful beaches, what it doesn't have is Folsom Lake or Lake Natoma or the American River. It doesn't have bike trails throughout the whole city. It doesn't have Tahoe in the Bay Area, a short drive away. And it also wasn't ranked as the #1 city to raise a family in California. Which brings me to my point. Folsom has some great natural beauty and amazing recreational places. It has a pool of technology-minded people that work in places like Intel and Power School. It has a strong foundation as one of the best places to live in California. What it doesn't have is a strong pull as a startup and tech-centric city. When I came to Folsom, I moved back to Folsom a year ago, that's one of the things that I noticed is that all the startup and tech-centric stuff was really based out of downtown Sacramento, and there was minimal stuff here in the city. So what I want to propose is that as you read through the general plan proposal for Folsom 2035, that you think about how we can attract more tech-centric talent to Folsom. And one of the things I'd like to propose is that we look at making the historic district an area, a lifestyle area that can attract young, technology-minded people to come and start their businesses in Folsom.
So Jason, are you getting close to wrapping it up here?
I am, yes.
Okay.
The historic district has some great restaurants and bars. It's an entertainment district. It has accessibility to light rail and the bike trails. All it needs really is some good, affordable second-floor office spaces for young, growing startups to utilize. I'd also like to propose that the city add some language to be more active in recruiting startup companies and technology talent to the city by putting on events such as a tech event that the city can host to showcase our technology companies and talent in the city.
Okay.
And that's my time, so thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Jason. We're working on all that sort of stuff, so nice to be reminded.
Okay. Next is YK Chalamcherla, and then followed by Attar Mohammed.
Good evening, YK.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members and all the officers of City. I'm here just to convey a sincere thank you for the City administration and management listening to our hate crime related incidents by and large. It is not just among Indians, but by and large. It is happening off late. And last week also we were at the school board. There were about almost 10 moms was there, and they're communicating through their sadness and tears how their loved ones are being treated at the school. So again, I'm here on behalf of the community, and I'm not going to speak anything different. We want to sincerely thank you from our community taking up this very seriously, and especially Officer Renoy is sitting in our audience, and she's also listening, and she's very actively reacting to this kind of incidents. Thank you again, City Management.
Thanks, YK. We do have a great team working on this. So.
Okay, your next speaker is Attar Mohammed, followed by Raj Patel.
Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Attar Mohammed. I have been living in Folsom for the last 19 years. I am here on behalf of several people. So I myself from India, basically. So, and also I represented Muslim community of Folsom. I was the president of that Muslim community Folsom previously, and now I represent CARE, Council on American Islamic Relations. So I came here in support of Indian community. We have a big concern that the rising hate crime overall, all the places. So here, as far as Folsom concerned, it's a very safe place. Thank you so much for police chief and her department. she's in good supporting our community very much. Whenever we need some support, wherever we saw some hate crime, and then she responded very quickly. So I am hoping that same thing, and I'm very thankful for everybody like city council and her to continue to take it seriously, because this hate crime concern is growing rapidly so throughout the nation. But luckily Folsom is very safe place, and I hope this continue to be a safe place here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, your next speaker is Raj Patel, who is followed by Shobha.
Good evening, Raj.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. I generally am in the background. I don't like to come out and speak, but it's important that I do it this time. I'm a first-generation Indian American of Hindu descent. The wife and I, we employ about 30 folks in the Folsom area. We have businesses in this area in El Dorado Hills. I myself am a civil engineer. I build fire stations, police headquarters, courthouses. I wanted to highlight that because, I've been too busy doing all of that. And if you look at the color of my skin, you don't get that background. You just assume, oh, here's another brown
I do.
person.
Engineers are awesome.
No, thank you, thank you. But I think I'm reaching out because I think I need to do more to tell the community and the larger public of the rich background I bring to this country and to society. I'm building fire stations and police headquarters in the Bay Area right now. And I'm building courthouses. I'm building public safety centers. I'm building schools. I'm building so many other constructive things for the community. We employ a lot of the community. And yet, just because maybe they don't get that perspective of what I do, they just take the color of my skin and assume all the other negative things that are going on the planet. So in a way, I'm reaching out to see how can I help more and engage more within the community so that maybe they have a better understanding of what Indian Americans are. So hopefully through this exercise, even our community can come out and be more in the limelight so that people can see, we really contribute a lot. Just because I'm first generation, my priority has been to settle and, excel my kids. I'm going to start changing that focus with whatever is happening recently. But thank you for taking the time to speak with us. And please do reach out, and I'll also reach out and see, how better to enhance this collaboration.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Raj.
Your next speaker is Shobha, who will be followed by Bill Smith.
Good evening, Shobha. It's been a while.
I know. Hi, Andy. My name is Shobha Malarapu, and I'm a 20-year resident of Folsom. And we brought up our kids, and I'm very active in community and know at least 3 people here really well through various community activities in neighborhood. And so I want to make a couple of points. So first of all, I have contributed to this community more than a lot of others who consider themselves natives to the U.S. Then, sorry, let me back up. So people who consider me as a foreigner and have taken their jobs and so have the backlash against people that are not Caucasian, essentially, are mistaken because I have contributed more than those people who are saying this. So I've served as PTO president in both middle and high schools. I've been active in Boy Scouts, robotics, and I've done a lot. And actually, I am right now employing people in Folsom, in tech community. And if you're going to drive people away, people like me away, then God save Folsom, because tech is the future. And there are a lot of people of Indian descent in Folsom, in the tech community, and that would be who would be employing future residents of Folsom, right? And the reason, I mean, I don't have my kids in schools anymore here, they're in college, but people, when they come into, the kids, when they go to schools and are facing these situations, which is coming from other students, where are the students getting it from? It is not they're not born that way, so it's coming from the adults. So I think the adults are the ones that have to be educated, and I think city has to play a role in educating the adults through newspaper advertisements, community meetings, go to neighborhood meetings, go to various groups that the city, that many different groups form, like churches, anywhere. And I think it's our duty to educate the adults. Seems like the intolerance comes from ignorance, and the only way we can remove that ignorance is by educating them. And education can happen through various means, and I think city has to take an active part in it. So the kids, it's not passed on to the kids.
Thanks, Shobha.
Right, thank you.
Well said.
Thank you for your
We're
service.
working on that. Tell Srini I said aye.
All right, Mr. Mayor, next speaker is Bill Smith.
Good evening, Folsom. Happy 14th of March. I am wearing a lot of hats, and I had a page I wanted to read to you. The mayor asked me for 2 pages of my notes back in April, and I've been having a lot of pages, and I probably take more notes than anybody you know. I keyword things, and one day last summer I managed to be up 66 hours, and so on the way here, yeah, it was still clear after 66 hours. I must be doing something right, huh? And so the work I do drives me, and there's been a lot of difficulties in our society because of cars. My family's all over these people, and my cousin's husband was a quality control West Coast Chevrolet division, and my cousin was working at the auto auction down in Fremont, and she said she wanted to be my receptionist one day. And I believe they're down here in the south area, just south of 50, about 15 miles. Anyway, my neighbor used to live next to the Fords, and she told me she used to laugh at them. They rode around in limos. Her husband was UC Berkeley, and they did a Springs machine and supplied everybody in Detroit. She was 90 years old about 30 years ago. And I met the gentleman I mentioned back in April, who was the guy who put the Disneylands in all over the world. I drove my first electric car about 58 years ago. I noticed you had a Tesla charging station here. I left a document here last time. I don't suppose anybody got a good look at it. It was about, I did a group buy at the Macintosh Group in Berkeley one time. I was there for 15 years. They called me the heckler because I used to get the guys to come down and help everybody with everything and get them to put on the T-shirt from the Berkeley Mac User Group. So I was able to get the focus on everybody. And I told the gentleman at the Korean, is it a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu shop on the way here last time, that I would show something I had just learned, and he was real impressed with what I was showing him. And what it is a combination of, if you want to defend yourself, my brother was a super athlete in high school. He was straight A's, and so there's a little bit of a story to that. But I used to get him very jealous of me, and it seems that I had talents that he couldn't cope with. We were at the Boys Club. I noticed the lady spoke at about the Boy Scouts. I was in the Leaders Club and the Boys Club. We had the better club around. We were in industrial town, and so we had the money to build it, and the kids came out and built it. So my family's quite the super athletes. Everybody is.
Got about a half a minute, Bill.
A
So
half
if you got
minute,
a
okay,
final point there.
Let's see. I wanted to mention when I was going to read tonight, there's one word in the middle of it. I operate, since I get all this information on all the numbers and everything, go down the road and make progress and everything all the time, I work anti-disestablishmentarially, istically, or, and that word goes on the page I wrote. I have 217 documents I produced by 6 months ago, and there's a guy named Joe Ching who had gotten my computer,
Bill.
but I got the files.
Close to time up here, okay?
So I'll speak to you later.
All right.
Better day.
Thanks, Bill. Okay.
Next, Mr. Mayor, is your consent calendar. I'm sorry, Mr. City Manager.
Mr. Mayor, I wonder if I might beg your indulgement to make one of my city manager comments before any of the crowd leaves, because I think it might speak a little bit to the community that clearly everybody here is so proud of. And and has been a part of for so long. But one of the things that we're particularly proud of is the various number of events that we do throw throughout the course of the year that brings the community together. We have an opportunity to start planning the next big community service day, which is in September of every year. And it brings out thousands of people from across various different aspects of the community to spend a day in service to each other. It would be great to see all of you out there. We do have a community brainstorming meeting where we plan what those activities would look like. That meeting is March 22nd at 5:30. It'll be right next door in the community center. If you do have some time to come out, you can be a part of the community and help plan those events. And it is a fantastic opportunity to bring people together, because I think one thing is true, and we seem to go through this period as a society every few years where we seem to have a great understanding of our differences and appreciate them, and somehow lose them along the way. And so familiarity, I think, is the best antidote to those things, to continue building a strong community and continue to make it someplace that you will all be proud to live for the next 20 years of your life. So if you have time, 5:30, that's, I think it's Wednesday, that's the 22nd for sure, is the planning meeting for Community Service Day, which happens every September. And again, it's a fantastic opportunity to be part of the community. So I invite you all out to that. And thanks for your participation. It's right next door at the community center. And so that'll be the first big community step towards planning this great activity that just gets bigger and better every year. So thank you.
Thanks, Everett. Okay, next item, please.
Okay, your next item will be consent calendar.
Okay, anything to pull for
I'm going to
discussion?
pull item C, just for a comment.
Okay, so.
I'll move items A, B, D, E, F, G, and H.
Second.
Okay, so those items moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Gaylord?
Yes.
Howell?
Yes.
Miklos?
Yes.
Sheldon?
Yes.
And Moran.
Yes, so item 7C.
Item 7C is ordinance 1273. It's an ordinance amending certain sections in Title 17 of the Muni Code regarding second dwelling units. It's here tonight for second reading and adoption.
I'm just going to reiterate my comments from last time. This is not something that the city has any control over, and this basically is going to eliminate a requirement for provision of parking spaces for second dwelling units that I think is probably going to has the potential to be far more significant in the historic district, which is where the majority of our existing second dwelling units are now. And I understand there's a number of applications in to put additional ones in. I just, again, want to express my concern about this. And if there's a way, particularly in the historic district, to get the landlords to be required to disclose that there is or is not a designated parking space, I think that would be helpful for future tenants.
Okay, so.
With that, I'll move the resolution.
Okay, I'll second that. So please call the roll on item 7C.
Councilmember Gaylord?
Yes.
Howell?
Yes.
Miklos?
Yes.
Sheldon?
Yes.
And Moran.
Yes, and with that, jump into city manager reports.
Thank you, sir. I just have one additional comment, and that is we get on so many lists for so many great things, and the latest one is Folsom is home to the best bakery in California. So thanks to our good friends at BJ Cinnamon for having a great bakery. So another top of the list award for City of Folsom, and it's very, very many quality contributors. So
We should have had the top 3 bakeries, including Karen's, and what's the other one that starts with a J?
I'm sure those are all on another list somewhere.
Great, thanks, Everett. Roger, you got anything for us this evening?
The only comment I wanted to make is just to bring awareness that there is at the Muslim Community Center on the 18th a community event. They're hosting an open house, so I'll be there, and I think it'll be a great event. I just wanted to make sure folks were aware, so thanks.
Great, Roger, thanks for announcing that. Steve, what do you got?
Roger got one of mine, so thank you. I was going to say that. So yeah, I will be there Saturday to also pay my respects and enjoy the community there. Just one personal comment. It just sickens me to hear that this community has a few bad apples in it that unfortunately affects so many because of ignorance and hate and whatever. So I know our chief back there and her great staff will do whatever that needs to be done. We'll certainly, with the mayor's comments earlier, we're aware of it. We're going to work hard. We're going to counter with our partners in the school district, and we'll put an end to this as best we can and just not let it get a foothold in this community. It's reprehensible. It's not at all welcome in this community. So we're with you hand in hand, always will be and always have been. On a more positive note, I will disclose that I was in Monterey on behalf of the city for the ICSC, which is International Convention Shopping Centers, Northern California showcase, if you will. I was the city manager and a contingent from Ted Corp folks, and I got to tell you, you can certainly tell when the economy is getting better because this place was jammed. We did not have one meeting where we were able to sit. Every meeting we had, we were standing in some corner or some. It's nice to know the economy is that thriving, but boy, my legs hurt when we were done because all we did is stand all day long. But I have to thank our partners on the what are they called now? South of 50, the ranch, Folsom Ranch. They made a very strong commitment, and 3 of them were out there, and they were very articulate in explaining the timelines, timeframes, commitments, development agreements, all the stuff that David, you and your folks and we all did. And they were so impressed how this city has pre-designed and pre-approved and basically set everything in motion way ahead of time. So now, as you predicted, and certainly with Everett and Carrie Miller, Jeff and I and the rest of the council up here, everything is working like clockwork. And we got thanked profusely, by the way. I was the only elected official in the entire program there of a couple thousand participants, and that carried a lot of weight for a lot of folks that we met. I think we got a great exposure. I know we have a lot of people that already knew about us. It was validated by, they knew sometimes more than we did. But I really think it's beneficial for the city to continue to do. We've had a lot of successes from that program. I mean, I could rattle off a whole few, but that's just hot air coming out. But I think in the future, we're going to see some high-quality developers coming from not only Southern California and certainly the Bay Area. We met several from out of state. And Folsom is definitely on the map in this country, and we have people looking at us before we actually can go ask any questions. They already know about us. So, Everett, thank you for attending. Thank you for all the background work you brought from your staff, David, and all your folks and everybody in the departments that make it a really good opportunity for us to showcase what we have, because it was pretty remarkable how well received we were. So thank you, everybody, that participated in that. And then I just want to do another shout out. I mentioned to the chief the other morning, you know, I had some friends that told me about, I think it's called Know Your Limit. Did I get it right? Okay, there's a program called Know Your Limit. It's an advanced team from her department that goes around to the local establishments where there's alcohol, and they just go up to patrons and actually ask them if they know, what they think their blood alcohol limit is and things, and they bring the things that the breathalyzers they can blow in and whatnot. It's just an education, upfront awareness that sometimes a lot of folks do not know what their level is of intoxication by what the breath thing is, even though they feel like they're totally sober. These folks that talked to me were so impressed, they couldn't say enough. There were 6 of them, and they just thought that was the greatest thing. And I've heard that from a couple others. I made an announcement and talked about this program at the Senior Center yesterday when I was speaking, and all those folks just thought it was the greatest thing. So I, again, want to pass along to the chief and your troops there that this is an outstanding program, and I have not heard one bad thing about that program. In fact, it's 100% the opposite. It's very, very well received and a very, very smart thing to do. And again, congratulations for all. I want everyone to know that we have just an outstanding department. I think education is always better than reaction. So thank you for that. And then last but not least, like I said, my condolences to the Indian community that's experiencing some of these issues, or any race that experiences any issue whatsoever. I saw enough of it when I was in the fire department. I didn't tolerate it then. I won't tolerate it now. So we're all together with that. With that, I'll say good evening.
Great. Thanks, Stephen. Thanks for all your advocacy at the shopping center convention there. I know you've been doing that for a lot of years, and I went to one once, and it is a lot of work. So thanks for taking that on every year. We really appreciate it. Ernie?
Okay, I'll try to get through this. A little remedial training going on my part. I'm trying to find all the documents in my house, so I found the rules for a planning commission. And I thought it was quite exciting, and it's quite interesting, and it's a great piece of paper. I wish you all get it. Now, Roger hasn't been on the planning commission, but the rest of us have at one time or another. It's a well-written document. If you look at the last page, there's one item we should follow. Other than that, it's a good document. So it's just a little remedial training on my part for you. On a personal thing, I did lose my remaining sister on Friday, 85, but she was suffering, so God took her, and that was good. I appreciate all the remarks from everybody here on that. And I had 2 sisters and sister-in-law who used to come every year here. And they come to the council. They love to come to the council and the planning commission. In fact, they got so impressed with our caps, they went back and became volunteer police people for the uniform and everything. So they really love Folsom. Folsom was special. And every Christmas, I had to buy at least $100 of Snooks and send it back to Milwaukee so that they enjoyed it. You know, I may have to do that again. I'm not sure where I'll send it. But again, thank you on behalf of my family, and they really enjoyed this town.
Thank you, Ernie. Carrie.
I've already spoken to the chief about this and sent an email, but I just wanted to say thanks again for all the great work that the police department's been doing in catching criminals left and right in the last couple of weeks. Between the woman that was stealing people's credit cards at Trader Joe's and the horrible thieves that were almost got away with a huge haul from one of the merchants on Sutter Street. That was $77,000 worth of merchandise that Folsom PD caught those people within a block of where they stole it from. So that's awesome. And whoever it was in Folsom, the end of last week that turned in the money that was found on Blue Ravine near Natoma Station Drive, awesome Folsom resident. So hopefully the owner of that cash and the cash has been reunited. Continued great job by Folsom PD. And I'm hoping that the criminals that come to Folsom from outside the area will realize that our police force does not mess around, and chances are you're going to get caught. So if you're going to do crimes, do it someplace else in a jurisdiction where the likelihood of you getting caught is less. Again, thank you to the folks in the Indian community for coming out. It's very, very sad to see that something like this has come up. The last time I think we had a conversation anywhere remotely similar to this was when we were approving the mosque project. So that was disturbing comments were made during those discussions, and I'm sorry that there's that issue seems to be coming up again. And I'm happy to help in any way that I can to make sure that that does not continue, not here. Daylight savings time, kids are out driving around later at night. This weekend is St. Patrick's Day. Don't drink and drive. Call a cab, call Uber. Don't even think about it again, because Folsom PD is going to catch you. So drive carefully. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Thanks, Carrie. And then just a kind of a final note on, some of the I guess, hate crimes that we're experiencing. It's important to remember that the standards in this community are very high for tolerance, and even minor incidents will really attract a lot of attention. These are more than minor, some of them, and it has escalated a little bit, but we need to remember that there is a giant majority of this community that is with you folks, and just don't forget that. And because of that momentum and the support in this community that will work to eliminate this, we'll be successful. So, but please, as I've mentioned in a couple of meetings, it is important that you continue to, whether it's in the schools or in the community, that these incidences do get reported. And I thank you for thanking our police department. We know they're on this. I know our school district is as well. So don't ever feel like, well, I think I've made my point. I think they're working on it. You don't necessarily need to bring them directly to us. We don't mind, but make sure, just for the sake of understanding, how frequently or infrequently, these incidents need to get reported to the proper authorities. So, and I know you folks are on that. So thanks for taking the time again to come out this evening. We just one item here is we did an opening day ceremony for the Folsom National Little League, so that was fun. The weather was great. The fields actually have dried out enough to where they're all playing, so that was wonderful as well. And actually, my last point, Ernie, on behalf of all of us on the City Council and the community of Folsom, our sincere condolences. We all met and knew your sisters, and I know that's hard to lose them. So, with your indulgence, I would like to adjourn the meeting in memory of your sister this evening. So with that, meeting adjourned in memory of Ernie's dearly departed sister.